Texting. Who's buying homes? Can't talk about it enough. Yep. So
Extras.
yeah, investors, bankers, and maybe some young people, if they can still afford it. So just remember the audience. That's all we're saying, right? Is keep in mind, we're not just necessarily talking about this year or next year. Like anyone that's listening probably wants to be in the business for 5 or 10 years, right? And so we have to kind of skate to where the puck is going in that sense. So we don't have to hammer this home too much unless you guys have other thoughts on millennials, Gen Z, and texting.
I mean, I think most people know it's kind of like sending an email or leaving a voicemail these days for a lot of people is almost one of the most offensive things you could possibly do to them. It's text is where communication happens for younger generations, right? And as someone who fought a valiant fight to never text for a number of years, I've also realized it is a superior method of communication. So I'm on board, but yeah, it is like, especially leaving voicemails or just making phone calls to people. Sometimes in this younger group, they don't even like that. So text is where it's at.
My poor parents, they leave me voicemails all the time and they just sit and then they'll text me and then we have a conversation. So
Sounds familiar.
yeah, they're not watching, but I'm sorry. Um, I think reminders, we're used to it. Do you guys get dental or, doctor, dentist, mechanic? Like every profession is doing it. And so like we can't pound the table enough. I know for those of you watching that do it, you're maybe saying duh, but chance to me, it's like, if it's the difference too, like looking at this reminder text of someone not knowing for sure when the inspection is, or just seeing that, and to James's point, oh man, they're professional. Guy took the time to write me a text, even if it's automated, still
Yeah.
impressive, right?
He has the tools to be a professional. He invested in himself and his business. So it builds credibility.
Huge. And there's not just reminders and confirmations. I mean, we're talking upsells, follow-ups, review as. I mean, there's so many things that you could do to add value. If you're using Spectora Advanced, that's for another webinar, but there are text messages you can send 11 months later to say, hey, did you look at these 6 tips to kind of prepare for spring or the new year or whatever? You literally can use it for anything. So to me, it's this like precious communication method, James, where you have like a captive audience where you can get their attention literally whenever you want. We just can't abuse it or waste it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's it. Like the abusing part's the bad part. I think knowing like the having the message to say, type stop to end text, all that kind of stuff. Really good to give people an easy way to opt out so they don't get frustrated on that end. But yeah, I mean, you think about any service that you have, they're sending these texts too. That can be from like, a big car dealership. They're sending texts. So you're up there on the technology level with those guys when you're sending out text messages. And also the other thing too, and this is something not to be afraid of, is everything we have listed here feels like it's kind of something that can be automated. There's also just sending texts after you do the inspection, a one-to-one text. Hey, really write the thing. I really enjoyed meeting you. Put in a little comment about, something funny about the house you looked at, or something about their family loving the house when they move into it. Just something nice like that to really show you care. Again, you don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to type an email. You could just do that through text. And it'll just, again, show that you're kind of the next step beyond what they expect. You're doing something over and above.
I love that so much of in a world of automation going the other direction and just saying like, what about a genuine check-in text? Like you ever get one of those from a friend, family, and you're just like, man, you have no idea how much I needed that or wanted that. And so if you're doing less than like 30 inspections a month, I think you can find the 2 minutes tops to peck out a text message. I know home inspectors always say they have fat fingers, so maybe it takes a little longer, but whatever. You send it over email, send it via text. I think we cannot assume, I think anyone uses any particular medium nowadays, because you'd be shocked, man. I used to know realtors that were 70 years old, all about text and video and social media. And then, there's some young, old people too that don't want to text. You just never know. So the mindset shift, add it everywhere, use email, and gosh, you can use it to sell more services or just check in on people, for the genuine, hey, how is it going? because that genuine care can go a long way. Because I know we talk a lot of tactics, right, guys? But like just kind of giving a bleep, kind of matters too.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing too, I think Chancey kind of hinted towards this is like that 11 months later, maybe it was you, Kevin, but like sending a message 11 months later, especially on a new build, to have like another inspection on that new build after 1 year, just to make sure everything's going good. I mean, I would do that. Like,
Huge.
I would sign up for that for sure, just to see if you're coming towards the end of a home warranty or anything like that. I mean, right there, you could have a whole new inspection, just from sending a couple messages.
2 for 1. Yeah, and new builds are going to be coming with interest rates where they're at this current time. We're recording, 7-8%. New builds are on the way, and you got to be marketing to do new builds.